the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody, and good Wednesday morning to you, and welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast. We always appreciate you joining us wherever and whenever it is that you join us each and every day here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Brett and Randy here on a Wednesday morning for you, and glad that you are joining us today. A lot that we want to cover on this edition of the Auburn Blitz. Golish finalizing and finishing up his staff. Still got a few spots remaining on that. We'll go over the ones that he's hired to this point. Where did they come from? How all that's playing out. Some all SEC guys honored for Auburn, and that'll be kind of where I go with it this morning. Auburn, obviously, with a very good roster this year, didn't get it done. Underutilized once again, a lot of the guys, but some overachieved, I think, based on what they thought or people thought they were going to do coming into the season. And we'll touch on a little bit of basketball as well. So a lot to dive into this morning. What's going on with you, brother, this morning?
Well, good morning. We had a great show yesterday, so a lot of those topics that you bring up with Andy at lunch. And, Brett, I think I say this to you every morning that we do the podcast, just a different avenue to get our content out there right here. But we were used to having someone be able to call in and talk to us. And let me tell you, doing that lunch show is enjoyable because of the phone calls and the interaction that you get. And we can't thank all of you enough for the comments that you send in here, because it does keep the communication flow going. So it's just not mine and Brett's thoughts on things, and Faith as well. But buddy, that phone call is a totally different element. And I've always enjoyed listening in to call-in shows, Brett. And we've got about 4 or 5 that call in every single day at lunch. It's on TV. If you're tuning into the podcast out there and you say, what in the world are you talking about, Randy? We only watch y'all on the podcast here. Well, we've been doing a television show for 20 years. A little over 20 years this year. It started out as Sports Blitz, and we did Sports Call for a while for Auburn, and we didn't want to really lose our Auburn Avenue, and now we've got Auburn Blitz, and we've had it for about a decade, it feels like, Brett. But that television's WOTM statewide, and so it's something we're proud of, but I know you still do it quite a bit, Brett. It's so much fun to hear the Larrys of the worlds and the Mylans and those people that call in every day. So the topics you bring up now are topics we talked about a lot yesterday at lunch. So prodding all of you out there to find us on our television side too.
Yeah, I mean, as always, just different ways that we get it out every morning here, and going to be doing some more stuff with our podcast, and we'll be diving into that a little bit later. I'll talk more about that as we move along. But let's dive into what we're going to talk about this morning here. All SEC selections. Xavier Atkins, first team All SEC. It's the first linebacker to be named All SEC since KJ Britt since 2019. You look at how Xavier Atkins kind of exploded onto the scene this year and what he did, and kind of leading that charge. Also on All SEC teams, Keldrick Faulk, Kieron Crawford, both third team on defense, and Jeremiah Cobb on third team offense. Those are the All SEC selections for Auburn. And then Jeremiah Cobb was the 6th leading rusher in the conference. Should have had 1,000 yards. We talked about that yesterday. But on the flip side of that, didn't score, but what did he score? 5 touchdowns on the season? Let me look at it and see. Only scored 5 touchdowns. So, when you look at it from that standpoint, it's a underutilization of talent once again. You can say what you want to about Keldrick Faulk. He still projects to be a top 10 pick in the draft, but his production was not very good. And I know that he demanded a lot of attention and opened up some opportunities for other guys to make plays. We said it all year. Take him off that defense, and you see some of these other guys not having the numbers they have. But he finished with 29 tackles, 5 for loss, and 4 batted passes. That was Keldrick Faulk's numbers this year.
Oh, it was a massive drop-off from what we expected. I mean, when you take into consideration, say, a Nick Fairley, and I know that it's not fair to compare defensive linemen to Nick Fairley, but before Nick Fairley, I said this, Brett, and I said, I don't know where the production, maybe it's the style of offense that you play, but we don't have anywhere near the production from the defensive line that we once had in the 80s in the generation that you and I grew up in with the Tracy Rockers and the Andre Bruces, and you can keep going down the list. And, we question, is that because of the offenses? And I think that you saw with Nick Fairley, and you see with the great ones, that no matter if you're doubling them, no matter what you're doing to them, they're finding ways to make plays. So I think a lot of Keldrick Faulk. I think he's handled himself. He's a tremendous leader. And without watching film and seeing the reason for the drop-off, I've just got to trust that what Coach Durkin says is true, and he can't say enough good things about Keldrick Faulk. So
Tremendous
what that tells me is what you said. The truth is that he was run away from a lot.
Right.
He had multiple bodies on him on about every snap, and that caused him to not have the production. But if you'd have told me before the season that Keldrick Faulk would have had those numbers instead of, say, 78 tackles with 20 tackles for loss and a dozen sacks, I would have guessed those type of numbers more than the ones that we saw. So do you have an answer for that? Do you have a guess on what happened there?
No, I don't. Then to kind of flip over to Xavier Atkins' numbers, though, Randy. Mm-hmm. Number 3 in the conference in tackles with 84. Number 1 in tackles for loss at 17.5. I mean, nobody saw that coming. And again, he just exploded in this DJ Durkin defense coming over from LSU, and LSU's probably going, why in the hell did we lose him? But we went down a list yesterday of players that we felt like are top priority for Auburn to retain on this roster. There's obviously the Cam Coleman's on the offensive side, but Xavier Atkins to me is as important, if not the most important player for Auburn to retain on this roster. Just from a quarterbacking situation of the defense and coming back another year and just being able to continue to build off what he did this year. I just think he is a tremendous find, and he really increased his stock this year playing on that defense led by Durkin. So he's definitely a guy that should be top priority.
I agree. I mean, we had this topic yesterday, and so I'll give you what Andy said. And I agreed with Andy, and then kind of kick it over to you because we kind of went, 6 or 8 deep on who we felt like Auburn must keep, or it would be a massive loss if they didn't keep. And Andy started with Deuce Knight, Brett. And
I disagree with that.
Well, and if you disagree with that, that's so be it. I 1,000% agree with Andy. And here's the reason I agree with him. You got to go off of ceiling. Now, you go to practice, and half the time I hear you say that he's the best talent that you've ever seen, and then half the time I hear you say that I'm not sure what I'm seeing. So you're 50-50 on him when you're at practice. I'll give everybody out there that because I try to pull out of Brett what he sees from the quarterback position because it's a problem.
And I'll explain why I said that here in just a minute. Yep.
It's a problem, but, what we're going off of and the phone calls that we received yesterday is not the question of can we get the South Florida quarterback that's 3,000 and 1,000 multiple years? Can we get him in here and have him play? It's more of what my eyes tell me in the little brief moment that I got to see him play tells me that there's greatness in there. And if I've got to, as an Auburn fan, stomach watching him head off somewhere like we had to with Bo Nix to become an All-American and a potential Heisman Trophy candidate, don't count me in on one that's going to be happy to see that. Does that mean that I don't want the South Florida quarterback to come here and play next year? No. I think that might be the right thing. Do I think all 3 of these quarterbacks are going to end up on the roster with Auburn? No. I don't think there's enough room for all three because I think Ashton deserves to play football somewhere. When he retained that red shirt and as well as he played for Auburn, but if you got to ask me which one I think on the offensive side is a must keep, I'm going to go with the Deuce. Now on the defensive side, because we both agreed there, we agreed with you, Brett. Xavier Atkins, and I also think it's the easiest keep because if you've been somewhere and you haven't had success, when you have success, I think you appreciate it more. Would you agree with that? I mean,
No doubt.
when you don't have success, you're like, okay, what did I do wrong? Maybe I was part of the reason for not getting my talent to the level that it needed to be because Xavier Atkins, if you're at LSU, you're highly sought after. I mean, it's not like you're there and you don't have the talent. So my point there is he and DJ Durkin must have an outstanding working relationship with one another and a lot of trust in each other. So there's a leverage game to be played here, the same as any business decision you and I have or any discussion that we have with people that we deal with. We deal with it every day. He's got great leverage. So whatever the market deems necessary to keep him, Auburn should do. But I think at the end of the day, Auburn will do that, Brett, and I think that Xavier Atkins will be back. So your thoughts on those comments?
Yeah, I'll go back to what I'm saying with Deuce Knight. Not that I'm discrediting his talent. That's not it. I just don't think with – I mean, I think we know the inevitable that's coming, and you got Byron Brown coming from South Florida if things hold serve, and you're going to run into the same issue. Again, it's going to be competition, but this guy's already proven. And I'm going to say this, you got to live year to year in college football now. This looking out 2-3 years, and you get a guy, and I hate the situation that has come about. You know, if we had it to go over again, we'd look back and go, well, crap, we should have just started Deuce Knight from day one and let the chips fall where they may because – obviously, he couldn't have done any worse. As a matter of fact, we know it could have been better. It probably would have been better with him playing. And I'm going to go into something else with the top 25 NIL college football earners this past year. Auburn had 3 in the top 25, if you want to think about that. But when you look at it from that standpoint, it's going to determine whether – it's a new administration, new coaching staff. They're going to come in and look at what they feel like and who's got relationships with them. And if they're going to bring a quarterback that they're comfortable with, we can kind of already read the handwriting on the wall. It doesn't mean that Deuce Knight can't go in there and fight and beat him out. But is that going to happen more than likely? I don't know. They'll have to let it play out. He hasn't gotten in the portal yet because nobody can get in the portal, and so if he does end up at Auburn, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But not say like if he doesn't come, I think he's your option. If Byron Brown does not show up at Auburn, you better do everything in your power to keep Deuce Knight. And then I think the stage is set at that point where I think Deuce Knight obviously is way better athletically than Ashton Daniels. And I think ultimately he'll win that job before all is said and done. But if you add Byron Brown into the mix, it changes the whole dynamic of that thing.
I agree with you, and I think that's kind of what we said. But you've got to make a decision from a budgeting standpoint. Who are you willing to keep at what price, and who are you saying, I'm not willing to lose him? I don't care what kind of money I got to spend, I'm willing to keep him. And so the next question that came up is Cam Coleman. So, it's a great question. To me, I'm probably on the opposite side of where you are. I love Cam Coleman. I want him to be great. I see greatness in him in spurts, but I also see questions where I go, man, he's got to prove to me that when you throw a little 8-yard slant that he can beat everybody to the goal line, the same as I saw Malcolm Simmons do multiple times in the last few games. And if everything to him is a high point, making big plays that way, then I don't know if I'm willing to pay top dollar. I want to keep Cam Coleman. Don't anybody spin this in a negative way, but let's just say Cam Coleman's worked
you and Tubbs can get in the canoe together because he obviously feels like the same thing. So
my point is, like, if you tell me I got to pay $2 million to Cam Coleman, I'm all for it. Like, I think I think he's worth that. I don't know what the top dollar is.
He made 1.8 last year.
So if he makes two, and the problem I got with the state of college football is, am I willing to pay him 5? And if I pay him,
I don't know what that number is.
You get what I'm saying. My point is, I don't know what his market is. I don't know what Ohio State's willing to pay to get him. I don't know that answer. But if it's 5 and I lose Deuce Knight in the process because I'm spending that kind of money to keep, and maybe money's not a factor. Look, I'm just saying that if I have $25 million of budget to spend, $30 million of budget to spend, am I going to spend 5 of my 25 on Cam Coleman? Maybe.
You're wrong again, Tubbs. But anyway, whatever.
I mean, maybe, but that's got to be something that's being discussed. And here's another one. Let's say you spend 5 on Cam Coleman, and it doesn't keep you $1.5 million or $2 million to keep Malcolm Simmons, Brett.
Yeah, it's not going to be that high, I don't think. But you're right. I've made this comment multiple times. You know, Malcolm Simmons to me is the most valuable from a guy that can take a 5-yard dig to a 50-yard touchdown. He's proven that. He yards after catch, his twitch factor in open field, and Cam Coleman showing that he's a jump ball guy to this point. That's what but I don't think anybody can argue that Cam Coleman will be if he were to get in the portal, he is absolutely the number one portal guy in the country.
I agree.
And so many people, and again, in fairness to him, what did he have an opportunity to really show this year? And you know, I'm just saying, I mean,
well, maybe that's the case. I mean, my argument is stats are part of something you need to look. Yes, you've got to go off of like Deuce Knight. I'm fighting for Deuce Knight because my eyes tell me. You're fighting for Cam Coleman because your eyes tell you that in the right system, he's going to put up massive numbers. I agree with you. But here's my point. He's smart enough to know that if he goes into the portal, he's the number one option out there. And what is that number? I don't know. Do you know what that number is? What
does it cost to get a quarterback? Now, I'll go back through, since we're talking about it, top NIL guys.
This would be great segue.
Number one in the country was Arch Manning at $6.5 million. So Carson Beck, 4.2. Jeremiah Smith got $4 million. These are the top 3 guys in the country. Then it was DJ Lagway at $3.8 million. Talking about somebody else that didn't get their money's worth.
He was highly sought after, though, Brett. So you had to put the money up to keep him.
Lenore Sellers, $3.7 million.
Same thing, Brett.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another.
Look at the next 3 guys: DJ Lagway, Lenore Sellers, and Garrett Nussmeier, $3.6 million. I mean, all just, you know, and just all 3 teams.
But quarterbacks coming into the season, Brett, in the SEC that we all thought would be really good players. Do you agree with that? I mean, I don't think any of us argued, unless you just didn't like one of them, that the talent was there for all 3.
No, there's no question. The talent was there. You know, one player can't dictate, you know, the results of a whole season. I know quarterbacks can have way more of an impact than a receiver can, or anybody else. But that's why they demand and command more.
All right. Well, let me spin it this way.
These top guys outside of Jeremiah Smith are all quarterbacks.
If Jeremiah Smith's worth 4.
Yep.
On the open market, what's Cam worth? I mean, I would say Jeremiah Smith's a slight step up from Cam Coleman.
Jeremiah Smith helped his team win a national championship the year before.
But because he had a chance to. You know, if you put Cam Coleman on that roster, he may have a chance to. I mean, I don't watch the 2 of them and go, Jeremiah Smith's a lot better talent than Cam Coleman. I hope nobody spins this, and I'm saying I think Cam Coleman is a supreme talent. I think he's a generational talent. But my point is, you've also got to look at the budget. And I don't know what the market for him holds. My guess is it's that, Brett. It's $4 million plus if he's on the open market. Now, if he stays at Auburn, does Auburn get him at a discount? I guess it depends on what kind of leverage play he makes. But do you think he's worth about what Jeremiah Smith's worth if he was on the open market?
I mean, he probably command that. Yeah.
Okay, so do you, as an Auburn general manager, think that Auburn should pay $4 to $5 million to keep him? And maybe the answer is absolutely 1,000% don't lose him because of $1 million or $1.5 million. And you may be right. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate with you here because I think these are decisions we've got to make in the short term. Like Perry Thompson, he probably, in order to get him as a 5-star out of high school, was probably a big deal. Did we get our money's worth? Absolutely not. We did not get our money's worth. Is that Hugh Freeze's fault? Probably. I still think there's talent there too, Brett. So you save some money there. You let him go. You add that to Cam
it's all
Coleman's
roster
deal.
management. Yeah, it's all, hey, I'm going to take this away and add over here. Xavier Chaplin made 1.8. That was a bust.
Money we felt like we needed to spend, though, Brett.
Correct. To go out and try to find a very good left tackle.
Yep.
All right, and then Jackson Arnold, 1.9 million, coming in at 19. Just a bad deal all the way around. And again, you look at a lot of these got Ryan Williams, 2.7 million. I can keep going down through some of these guys here. That puts him at 12 right there. Mateer's 2.7. So, I mean, you look at some of these guys panned out and you got ROI on them, and a lot of them didn't, though.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
But that is every single year with every single program.
It shows you there's nothing to guarantee.
Whether you're in college, and it's the reason that the general managers that make the right decisions and look at analytics and take everything into account and put a consistent winner out there, I don't care what sport you're in, are the separators. And that's where this game's gone. It's no longer just, players there that that you're trying to groom and develop and have them for 3 or 4 years for sure. No, I think what you said's exactly right. It's a year-to-year basis, which takes great roster management and great budgeting to put a good roster together. And so far, it hasn't worked out for Auburn. I can say that the issue is leadership, but it's definitely not that Auburn's not. I mean, look at those numbers. It's not that Auburn's not willing to spend money.
No.
Gosh knows, the frustrating part's got to be the ones that are given the money to spend. That's got to be the most frustrating thing, to see the quality of the product that Auburn's getting based off the money that we're spending.
Yeah,
where do we fall into the overall mix, Brett, in NIL spend this past year?
I don't have a firm number on that.
What would you guess?
Where did we fall?
Maybe 10th.
I was going to say 8th.
Yeah.
7th, 8th.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Auburn's not a top 10
top 10 NIL guy.
Man, I mean, we're so far from the 10th best program in the country that it's mind numbing.
Well, and then you look at, I brought this up the last 2 days. Indiana with 7 blue chip guys. Ohio State was 67. Now I know they're an outlier this year. I get it.
Yeah.
But this has been building for 2 years. It's not like this was a flash in the pan. They won 11 games last year. This was a team that went to the playoffs last year. Now they got beat in the first round and didn't look good, but they're 13-0 this year. And everybody, one of the things that Luke continued to say on all our shows, and we all agreed, that Indiana's like, okay, every time you play somebody that's not a soup can, you get killed. And, and you're over here chirping that blah, blah. Well, they just conveniently went on the road and beat Oregon this year. And they just conveniently beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. So they've crossed that next hurdle where people were going, okay, you got all these wins, but when you played somebody worth a darn, you got beat. Well, they silenced those people, at least for now, going into the play. Now they've got to prove in the playoffs they can take the next step with this group. But they have, it reminds me of the 2004 Auburn team. You just kept beating teams. Oh, you need to beat this team. Oh, you need to beat this team. Oh, you need to go to the SEC championship and beat. Oh, you did. And it's like it never was good enough, You just kept passing test after test after test, but everybody's like, well, and there's still, even though Indiana's 13-0, there's still people out there that go, well, I don't know, man, because they've never been here before, and they're the new kid on the block and all that. But my point is they've taken a lot less and done way more. Throw out the playoffs. Hell, eight wins would have topped what we've done, 7 wins. And they did it with a much lesser roster than what Auburn has right now. And that's what we bragged on in the offseason. We felt like would help Auburn get over the hump this year is a manageable schedule and a much better roster. And the results were the exact same. So there's only one thing you can point to. It's coaching. It's culture. And that's why none of these guys, save a couple, are left in the building, coaching-wise, for Auburn. And they've got a whole new group now.
And the same goes to the players that we retain. That's going to be interesting to see because, how many years can you be sold the same bill of goods? I know There's a new coach here, but at a certain point, you've got to prove it. And I think Golish is doing all the right things. I'm real proud of where Golish is and what he's saying. But unfortunately,
he's got to do it.
Well, for you and I, we not only on the college side, but we have to listen to this over and over again from the high school ranks with coaches that we cover. And, I've told Brett this over and over again, and I said it on the program yesterday. There's almost like a training class that these coaches go through that you can put a mic in front of them, and they all sound like a bit of a break from Nick Saban. Now, we can all get up here and just talk. I've been around a lot of people that are going to do a lot of things, and then they end up, everything they said, they never do any of it. They just chirp, 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 and they don't do it. But process, Brett, these are things you and I have talked about. When you hear these coaches talk culture and process and strategy and a 5-year plan, oh, man, consultant goes into my mind. My father comes into my brain because my father despises nothing worse than consultants. Because consultants are telling you how to run a business that they're not running themselves for the most part. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, you get a bill of goods sold like Brian Harsin did with Auburn. I thought all the things Brian Harsin said when he was initially hired was great. You did too. Most Auburn fans that can go back and look at what we said back then, we thought, we're going to be tough. We're going to run the football. We're going to change the culture in this building. We're going to be great on the offensive line, blah, 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 blah. I mean, all the things that you want to hear. None of it came to be. So it's a difficult time. I'm totally with Brett Pritchard moving forward when it comes to Auburn football. I'm on the show me side. I'm 1,000% behind Golish, the same as I was 1,000% behind Harsin and Freeze. But at a certain point, I can watch you sit up there and talk for an hour, which we had a great press conference, by the way, that you were not. And I'd love your thoughts on the press conference. I mean, I think he's wonderful in front of the mic. And trust me, Brett and I like nothing more than direct conversations. We may sound like we're arguing here, but hell, we talk this way with each other worse when we're off the screen. So I love direct conversation. Can't get anywhere if you can't get a direct comment from somebody and they're beating around the damn bushes. There's nothing worse in life. And Golish doesn't. So he's my kind of guy. But now we got to prove it. And I think the Auburn fan base and the Auburn boosters have proven if you're getting the product that we're getting and you're spending the money that we're spending, that we're all in, we deserve a better product. And I'm hopeful Golish is the right guy, Brett. And all of these decisions got to be made. Let him make them. You didn't hire him for me and you to decide whether Cam Coleman's worth $5 million a year. You didn't decide. Me and you aren't the ones that need to decide whether they need to spend $2.5 million next year on Deuce Knight because Notre Dame thinks he's worth that. Right. These are all decisions you've got to make.
Well, you can't let another school. I know that's called open market. I get it, but you can't let what other schools think dictate what you think. You got to do your own evaluation. I think Stephen makes a good comment over here about performance evaluations need to be injected into NIL deals. I've said this since day one. The dumbest thing out of everything that is done in college football is giving high school guys ridiculous amounts of money before they've taken a snap on a college field. Like what this is where we steered off the path in society. Okay, where we do it's called speculation. Oh, I'm going to pay this guy based off what he did in high school, X number of dollars, Perry Thompson. Okay, let's just use that as an example. Yeah. All right. And Auburn and Alabama fighting for him. Auburn wins that out. Oh, he's the next Julio Jones. Oh, he's the next so-and-so. And he couldn't even break into the starting lineup. And the deal is that the market dictated what you felt like you had to go to get him. But we've all lost our minds when we went away from, hey, let's get here and let's start and go prove. I said it about the coaches, if you'll remember. You know, when you come in and give somebody a 3-year contract, why would you give anybody beyond that? And at the end of 3 years, if they're doing well, man, you're going to compensate the hell out of them because you want to keep them. But if they're not, if they're laying a damn egg, then you want them to get out faster than you know what. But we all know that the Jimmy Sextons of the world and the agents and all this stuff have ruined the sport. And people can disagree with me and people can say, well, he's just doing his job. And I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying he is doing his job.
Oh, he's doing his job exceptionally.
I'm saying he's ruined the damn sport.
Yeah.
Okay. Period.
Oh,
because it's just money. Well,
it's his job to get you the money. Like, so if the question is whether Jimmy Sexton's doing a great job, hell, nobody's disagreeing with that. I mean, I'm
saying the structure of college football, like what Stephen Cotney said, is that we don't do anything based off performance. We do it off speculation. And then you get caught with your pants down and you go, well, that guy didn't perform. Now we don't have the money and now we got to do this. You know, we lost that somewhere along the lines. In the real world out here, Randy, you got to perform to get things. You got to perform.
That's right. But, you know, you take – the easiest thing is to go back and listen to the Louisiana governor make his comments. Okay. He made comments, and then 30 days later, they give one of the craziest salary structures you've ever seen in sport.
That's
so
what a politician does.
That Louisiana governor can say whatever the hell he wants. You've got to go play the game, and what the market holds is what the market holds. And do I like it? No. But is the genie going back in the bottle? No. So these administrations are in a catch-22. I mean, what do you do when you've got to play this game? You do what we did. You know, I like the contract that Golish got. It's heavily
it's very manageable compared to everything else.
It's very incentive-based. Can he make a fortune doing it? Absolutely. Does he have incentives to go out there and be successful? Yes. Is it still eye-opening what he's getting paid? Oh, yeah, it's eye-opening. And buyouts and all of those things that go with it. But I think it's the best option that you have right now. All we can as an Auburn fan base is say, did our AD do the right thing by us with this contract? And I feel for the most part, unless you can look at it and tell me that you're going to win a battle or a leverage battle with somebody else with a different contract, I don't think you would have gotten him. He'd end up at Arkansas. I mean, he'd end up somewhere else. So you've got to be willing to pay what all of us deem as crazy money.
Yep, no doubt. All right, let's get to some of our partners. We're way behind. Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean, call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, saving you thousands of dollars on new installations. You need to check them out. If you've got a heat pump that's about to go out, you just need to go ahead and be proactive and call Sensagreen, and they'll come install one of these new carrier units, and it will save you money on your power bill because it's more energy efficient. So Sensagreen, turn to the experts right there with Carrier. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama. Check them out online, scoutpm.com. They are the best in the business, taking your budget, hundreds of thousands, even in the millions of dollars, from the pre-construction phase all the way to the finished product when you get your keys. You need to call on Scout Program Management. You don't have the time or the staff to do it. That's why you hire them, and you'll be glad you did it. You won't be coming back spending money on things that need to be fixed. they'll get it done correctly the first time. Bunkers in downtown Auburn will be over there today for a meeting. Looking forward to that. One of our favorite places in the world. Faith tried to get so much influence to get those steak sliders back. I don't know why they took the steak sliders out. I told Alan, I told everybody, I don't know what you're doing, man. Got to get the steak sliders back. So we're lobbying over here at Auburn Blitz to get the steak sliders back. But if you don't get the steak sliders, they got all kind of great stuff on that menu. And the environment on Fridays and Saturdays with the live music, the expansion, it's the place to be, man, especially now that it's bone chilling cold outside. Go inside and have a great time at Bunkers. The Cart Source in Dadeville, Alabama, right there on Highway 280. I don't know that you can find a better Christmas present. You only have a few days. That's crazy. Easy Go Cushman Yamaha Club car, even if it's not for Christmas, now's the time to go get you one of these custom-made golf carts. And if they don't have it on site, they'll order it for you. The wheels, the audio systems, everything that goes with it. 334-231-2205, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore, the Cart Source. Go tell Harrison we sent you from the Auburn Blitz. I know he will appreciate it, and we will as well here on the Auburn Blitz. All right, coaches, go through these real quick. Auburn adding, or Goalish rather, adding more coaches to the mix. Edge, outside linebacker coach Coleman Hutzler was Mississippi State's defense coordinator, fired, but has a history with Durkin. They went out and snatched him up. You know, he's been at Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, South Carolina, Boston College, Florida. He's been around, and he's got a lot of great experience. I think that was a big get for this coaching staff. And then the retaining of VKW, Vontrell King Williams on the defensive line. I think his relationship with the current roster and the guys he coaches, one of the more fun position groups that we get to watch at practice when we get to go to football practice is what Coach Williams does over there on that side. So that was the news that kind of came out yesterday. We've been talking about, the other guys that have been added since then. There was a release the day before of 5 guys being added. So a couple more spots left to go for this staff with running back, defensive back, and tight end to get hammered down. We'll see more about that as time goes on. As Coach Golis said on Monday, talking with all these guys, making sure they're the right fit and that they get the trust built. And he'll round out this coaching staff hopefully maybe by the end of the week.
Well, I can't give much on the Edge guy. I don't know him. I haven't paid much attention. Only one I can go off of that I'm really happy that we retained is defensive line coach. And why, Brett? Because, the last couple of years we have brought guys in that are young that I thought were talented. And we threw them into the mix early, Brett, and they performed. And then we brought guys in from the portal, and have they become all SEC and all Americans? No, but have they fit a role and played it well and played the game the right way? I 1,000% say yes. So I'm glad that we keep that consistently there. And then I trust people like you that are at practice that point to the coaches that have emotion, that coach hard, that have a passion, that their players respect. And you can tell a lot about a position coach at a practice. And you can tell a lot about the way that they react to things in comparison to other position groups. The great groups are very well coached. The others are kind of not led well, don't have the passion, full of excuses, always inner turmoil in their room. And I don't sense that very often at all with DJ Durkin on his side of the ball the last few years. So that's a positive thing. Any kind of retention that we can get on that side, I think is a great thing.
No doubt about it. So still rounding that out, and we'll kind of follow that to see where all of that goes. Before we get off, just real quick, Auburn basketball will be back in action on Saturday. Auburn sits at 7-3 on the season. They'll play Chattanooga in the Holiday Hoops Giving game in Atlanta. That game will be at 3:30 Saturday. Last time out this past Saturday, got throttled by Arizona, 97-68. Auburn's been throttled in 2 out of their last 4 games. They came back and beat St. John's 85-74. Michigan seems to be a step above everybody else. Arizona seems to be obviously right there with them. But Auburn was not competitive in either one of those games. That's the thing that is a little concerning. I know you had to go to Arizona and play them there, which is a very tough environment, just like when teams have to roll into Neville Arena, but not to the tune of getting beat by 30. Very selfish play right now, as Stephen Pearl's talked about. It's great that Tahad scored 30 points in the game, but he had 1 assist, and that's just not going to cut it. And you look down the line, and there seems to be some kind of rift with Keyshawn Hall and Todd right now. It showed its head in that game, and we've heard some things also the last few days about them too. They better get that figured out if there is some substance to that, because this team won't go far if there's a power struggle within. And really, the thing that I'm finding right now is that who is the leader of this team? Who is the on-floor leader of this basketball team? And maybe it's a power struggle between Hall and Tahad trying to figure out who is the guy that's going to lead it, and that's fine. But again, when you look down and you got one guy with 30 and another guy with 13, everybody else is in single digits against the better opponents in the country. And maybe people need to shift their expectations. I don't know what your expectations were to begin with anyway out there, but against the elite team so far, Auburn hasn't sniffed the test.
Well, I don't think we're elite. And, I said this on the show yesterday. There's only one thing that I'm 1,000% certain of. And that is no coach leaves when he's got his peak roster together. I don't care where you are. If you're a high school coach, you're a college coach, you're a pro coach. When all things are put together like Auburn had as a Final Four team last year with 10 seniors and a lot of them being there, and there's no question on who the leaders are, and they know how to play together, and they got multiple years, and you try to add a piece here or there like Tahad last year, you're not leaving that. But you're going to leave. I don't care if it's your son that you're leaving it to. You're going to leave when you're going to potentially have inner turmoil. So, I think Stephen Pearl's doing a tremendous job. I think he's saying the right things in the press conference. Are we a top 5 team? Hell no. I mean, who watches this team and doesn't see issues? We're not good in the post. I mean, is Stephen Pearl partly to blame for that? Sure, I guess. When you go in the transfer portal and you can't win some of those big guys, then it is what it is. But thank the Lord we got Keyshawn Murphy. I'll say that. You take him off of this roster, I don't know where the inside presence. And he's not necessarily
he's not. Yeah, he's
not a bull. He's not a bull in a china shop.
He's
but
been really thrown into a position that he really is not
we don't
made
have a
for.
choice. And Brett, you and I have been calling Keyshawn Murphy games for the last 6 years. I've seen him since he was a youngster at Ramsey. He likes to play on the perimeter. He's always shot the ball well from the perimeter.
Right.
He's one of those 6'10" guys that can extend you. So I like his game, and that's what the game's become. But the college game also has become that if you don't have someone that can man up physically in the post, you're in trouble.
Oh, there's no doubt.
It's become a big man game again in the college side. So, it was a mixed bag last week. Had a really good win against NC State, and I think we're even with NC State. I think Auburn right now is a top 25 team, probably 20 to 25, but a top 25 team. And I think we've got some great talent, and Stephen Pearl, if he can get them to work together and find a way in a short term to find a leader and find someone that can be what we had probably 4 or 5 of last year in Janai and Denver Jones, and keep going down the list of those guys that have been in the game for 5 years around the college game. I mean, it's going to be difficult. So I just tap the brakes, Auburn fans. Deal with it. We don't need to be on the road playing Arizona this year at their place. I've watched a lot of college basketball this year. I think what Brett said is dead on. There may be a couple of more teams that are equal to those two, but 2 of the top 3 or 4 teams I've seen all year are ones we've gotten drummed by. And if we played them next week, we'd get drummed. They're better than us.
And Alabama's got them next. Alabama plays them Saturday in Birmingham, which will be different for them. I mean, they've got to come across, and
it's kind of like us with Houston and Birmingham.
Correct.
Hey, there's no part of me that watches Houston play and think they're not going to be there at the end of the year. Those young bucks they've got are super players, and we already know they're coached as well as anybody.
Right.
And we had a great chance in pretty much our own gym. We weren't, in Auburn Arena, but we were close enough when you look at the fan base that was there in Birmingham for that. We make a shot or we get to the free throw line. Tahad gets free throws there, we probably win the basketball game. So we're in a pretty good spot. I think we're a top 25 program. And I hope that we win.
That's where we are right now. We're number 20.
And if we can win 10 games in SEC play and get to 22 or 23 wins on the season, man, and we make the tournament again, I know we've been spoiled to expect better than that, but I don't think this team's better than that. I really don't.
No, that's where it is. That is where it is. You just need to hope that, whatever, if there's any kind of internal rift, they get that figured out. And figure out how to play unselfishly. It's like Steven said, 7 assists ain't gonna cut it, man.
Mm-mm.
He's not distributing, he's playing selfish basketball.
Great
and
point.
When you get in that mode against better opponents, you're gonna get beat. So that's that on that. Let's close with some more of our partners here before we get off. We appreciate them so very much. And Russell Medical Center, one of the top 3 hospitals in the state of Alabama. They are associated with UAB Health System. Great facilities, great doctors in a small town environment. You don't have to fight the big city traffic, all the hassle that goes with that. You need to check out Russell Medical Center right there on Highway 280 in Alexander City. Again, partnered with UAB Health. I don't need to say any more than that. When you're partnered with the best healthcare system in the world, and I'll argue with anybody on that, then there's nothing more that you can say. So great to have them on board. We appreciate them so very much. Alex City Marine, you're looking at that Blackfin center console right there that I stood on a couple of weeks ago, by the way, and almost hooked it to the back of my truck and pulled off with it. Those center console boats have become the most, I guess, efficient, most durable, most for any type of thing that you want. You're starting to see them on Lake Martin all over the place. Pontoons are great, but everybody's shifting center consoles because you can take it to the bay. You can go offshore if you get a big enough, center console. It's got multiple engines on the back. They've got, Mercury, Suzuki, Yamaha, Honda, all the different things at Out City Marine with the Landau pontoons. They've got all kind of stuff going on. You need to check them out. They're right there on Highway 280 as well. And call them, 256-215-3474. And Oliver Ross for all of your holiday. Look, you still got time. If you're planning a party, you need to call Oliver Ross. If it's as few as 10 people, up to 10,000, they'll get you taken care of. And they'll bring everything, set it up, serve it, break it down, take it away. You don't have to worry about anything. All you get to do is take the credit for hiring Oliver Ross to come to your party and your convention, your event. Make sure you check them out there online, Instagram, and Facebook. We appreciate them so very much. Appreciate all of our partners on our programs. We couldn't do it without them. We have got an overrun of you guys out there right now contacting us to be part of our stuff, and we appreciate it very much.
Let me throw something real quick in. I was working on last night that I want to throw out there too. We were proud of Super 7 last week. Can't thank Ryan, our producer, enough, Brett. Can't thank our entire crew that went over and worked. We work exceptionally hard on social media for the AHSA too, and try to create opportunities for our sponsors out there to take advantage of the growth that we've had on that side. And we had almost 6 million views in the last 3 months on our AHSA social media outlets, and have grown almost 1,500 followers in that time frame. We've got the Auburn Blitz here, but Brett and I have worked exceptionally hard to try to grow the high school side too, and we hope we can continue to grow it. But if there's ways that you would like to promote yourself in the high school ranks here in the state, we want to talk to you. And if you like Auburn Blitz and you like our AHSA radio network too, we'll find a way that we can combo package those things together. That's both of our products here.
That's a big footprint.
And I'll say this as we go off, and Brett says this to everybody we end up in front of, and that is, we love Auburn and Alabama sports here in this state. Very important. But, you know, we're 18 years into this AHSA thing. And
I don't love Alabama, but anyway.
No, but my point is that those are but the high school side touches every demographic here in the state. The grandparents, the parents, the fan bases, the local communities. If you're needing to promote your product in the state of Alabama on the high school rank, we want to do it. I promise you, nobody pushes more content out than Brett and I do when it comes to high school sports here in the state of Alabama. The only one that's close is our good friend Bo Starkey with Average Joe's.
Yeah,
He's
no
unbelievable. We love Bo. But other than that, it's us. So if you want to find an angle to reach the masses here in the state, Auburn Blitz is, of course, a great way to do that. But never forget that we're proud to be the high school guys here in the state. We're going to continue to grow that too.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. So get in touch with us. We appreciate it so very much, all of you out there that have contacted us, and we'll get you taken care of 100%. All right, we will be back with you at lunch. We won't be, but somebody will be on our noon show, and then we'll be back with you again in the morning for more of the Auburn Blitz podcast here. Again, thanks to all of you out there that join us. Have a great day, everybody. Go be nice to people. Go do something good. Be a shining light out there, and we'll see you tomorrow for more Auburn Blitz.